The giant auditorium at NASA headquarters was electric, a sea of cameras, reporters, and scientists buzzing with anticipation. The world was watching, millions glued to screens around the globe, holding their breath, waiting for the moment that could change everything. Then the doors swung open. NASA's director, calm but resolute, strode to the podium. The chatter instantly hushed. Every eye was locked on him. He adjusted the microphone, scanned the room once more, and with steady, deliberate voice declared, "Today, we have confirmed evidence of life beyond Earth." A heartbeat of silence, then pandemonium. Gasps echoed through the hall. Journalists' pens froze midair. Cameras flashed like lightning bolts. The words rippled across the internet in an instant. NASA announces life on Mars. Historic discovery. Proof we are not alone. The headlines exploded. Mars mystery solved. Life found. Earth shaken. Aliens are real. The universe's biggest secret revealed. Around the world, strangers stopped in their tracks. Families gathered, faces a mix of disbelief, wonder, and a flicker of hope. Some whispered prayers, others clenched fists in awe. For decades, humanity had dreamed of this moment, proof that life had taken root on the red planet, confirming what once seemed impossible. But beneath the celebration, beneath the roar of excitement, a silent tension began to build. Because for every heart filled with hope, there were others gripped by fear. Fear of the unknown, fear of change, fear of what this discovery might mean for power, religion, and control. The world was split, and the battle lines were quietly drawn. For over half a century, humanity has been reaching for the stars, sending probe after probe to Mars, each mission carrying the weight of billions of dollars, the hopes of entire generations, and the dreams of unlocking one of the universe's deepest mysteries. Are we alone? Since the first Mariner flybys in the 1960s to the latest cutting-edge rovers crawling the dusty surface, Mars has been our closest, most tantalizing neighbor. Yet, despite the flood of images and data, proof of life, even the simplest microbial organism, had remained frustratingly elusive. Scientists faced skepticism not only from the public but from their own peers. Some warned it was all wishful thinking, a costly gamble on impossible dreams. Others warned that discovering life on Mars could upend everything humanity thought it knew about itself. But now, with that historic announcement, the game changed. This was no longer speculation or science fiction. It was fact. And that fact sent shockwaves far beyond the laboratories and launch pads. Politicians scrambled to respond, some with excitement, others with suspicion. This discovery wasn't just a scientific milestone, it was a tectonic shift in the balance of power. What would this mean for national pride? For budgets? For international space treaties? Would countries race anew to stake claims on Mars or collaborate like never before? Religious leaders faced their own reckoning. For centuries, many faiths had positioned humanity as the unique crown of creation. What would sacred texts say now? Would believers embrace this cosmic revelation or resist it as a threat to their core beliefs? Most importantly, it forced a question deeper than science or politics. What does it mean to be human in a universe that is no longer solitary? The discovery quickly ignited a fierce, polarizing debate, a war between those who championed truth, curiosity, and progress, and those who saw an opportunity to manipulate fear for political gain. On one side stood the truth seekers, scientists, educators, everyday people eager to expand humanity's horizons and embrace the unknown. On the other, political opportunists wielded doubt like a weapon, questioning data, casting shadows on credibility, and stoking fears that science would destabilize society. Across newsrooms and social media platforms, the battle for hearts and minds raged. Hashtags like Life on Mars trended alongside Mars hoax and Keep Earth Safe. Memes mocked the Martian myth, while impassioned voices called for unity and exploration. The world held its breath, caught between awe and anxiety. What happens next will decide the future of science and democracy itself. Because this discovery was no longer just about Mars. It was about whether truth and reason could survive in a world where power and fear often dominate. And as this cosmic drama unfolded, one thing was clear. The stakes had never been higher. As the world buzzed with wonder and hope, a darker voice began to rise, sharp, dismissive, and relentless. Enter Senator Richard Calhoun, a seasoned politician known less for vision and more for controversy. Charismatic to some, divisive to many, Calhoun had built his career on deflecting inconvenient truths and stoking fears to rally his base. When the NASA announcement hit, Calhoun was quick to dismiss it. On live television, with a smug smile and steely gaze, he declared, "This so-called discovery, it's nothing but a politically motivated hoax, an elaborate fabrication to push a liberal agenda and drain taxpayer dollars." The room erupted into chaos, the nation split between shock and fury. But for Calhoun, the outrage was a victory. Behind the scenes, his aides prepared talking points that painted NASA as reckless and untrustworthy. "They're playing with public money, wasting resources on fairy tales," he claimed. His campaign emails bombarded supporters, urging them to demand accountability, skepticism, and real priorities. Calhoun's rejection wasn't just political posturing, it was born from fear. Fear of a future he couldn't control, of a world where science exposed inconvenient truths and shattered his carefully crafted narrative. Yet his arrogance ran deeper. This was not the first time Calhoun had dismissed facts that challenged his worldview. Years earlier, he denied climate change despite overwhelming evidence, labeling scientists alarmists. He'd supported policies that cut funding to education and research, all while championing himself as a defender of American values. His hypocrisy was glaring, but his loyal followers saw only the image he projected, a protector against the elites trying to undermine tradition. Fueling the fire, Calhoun took to social media with venomous tweets and fiery speeches. He questioned NASA's integrity, mocked scientists as space geeks, and called for investigations into the agency's funding. His followers rallied behind him, sharing conspiracy theories and casting doubt on every piece of evidence. Online forums swelled with hostility, hashtags like #MarsLies and Wake Up America trending as misinformation spread like wildfire. The atmosphere grew toxic. Scientists faced threats, public trust wavered. Even some politicians began wavering under pressure, hesitant to fully embrace the discovery for fear of political fallout. Yet Calhoun's bravado masked a man cornered, desperate to maintain power by weaponizing doubt. The stage was set for an epic showdown. On one side, the cynical politician grasping at shadows, on the other, a world desperate for truth. But the hero was ready, and the battle was just beginning. In the sprawling labyrinth of NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, amid whirring machines and glowing monitors, one woman's quiet determination had changed the course of history. Dr. Elena Ramirez wasn't born into fame or privilege. Raised in a small town where dreams of the stars seemed just that, distant dreams, Elena's journey was shaped by grit, sacrifice, and an unyielding belief that the universe held secrets waiting to be uncovered. Her childhood was marked by late nights under the open sky, a battered telescope clutched in hand, tracing constellations and wondering what life might exist beyond the specks of light. "I always felt the stars were calling me," she would later say, even when no one else believed it was possible. From the outset, Elena faced obstacles that could have derailed a lesser spirit. Growing up in a working-class family, resources were scarce. She balanced multiple jobs to fund her education, often studying into the early hours. Her professors noticed a fierce intelligence and passion, but even they doubted the feasibility of her chosen field, astrobiology, the study of life in the universe. Yet Alina pushed forward. Her early career was a series of small, often overlooked projects. While others chased headlines, she focused on the painstaking work of analyzing Martian soil samples, designing sensitive instruments, and running simulations that many dismissed as academic exercises. Skepticism wasn't just external. Many in the scientific community warned her against chasing what some called space fantasies. Colleagues questioned if life on Mars was even a realistic goal or simply wishful thinking. Isolation became a constant companion. Long hours in sterile labs, away from family and friends, punctuated only by the faint hum of machines and the occasional radio chatter from Mars probes millions of miles away. But through it all, Alina remained resolute. She was driven not by fame, but by curiosity, by the quiet conviction that uncovering life beyond Earth would not only rewrite textbooks but reshape humanity's understanding of itself. When the Mars rover Perseverance landed, Alina was at the forefront, leading a team that developed instruments capable of detecting the tiniest traces of organic molecules. Months turned into years as the data trickled in, painstakingly slow, inconclusive, yet promising. Then came the breakthrough. Microscopic fossils, unmistakably biological in origin, embedded in ancient Martian rock. The moment Alina saw the images for the first time, her hands trembled. It was like hearing a whisper from the cosmos, she said, eyes shining with disbelief and hope. That whisper became a roar on the day of the announcement. But as the world celebrated, Alina braced herself for the inevitable storm. The political attacks, the denials, the smear campaigns, all targeted not just the discovery, but her personally. Yet unlike the cynics, Alina met the fire with calm resilience. Her belief in the science was unshakable, her dedication to truth unwavering. Behind her composed exterior lay years of sacrifice, a burden few could comprehend. She became a beacon for many, an emblem of courage, intellect, and humility. Through interviews, speeches, and social media, Alina shared more than facts. She shared the human story behind the discovery. Her journey from a small-town dreamer to the face of one of humanity's greatest revelations inspired millions. As political tensions mounted and the battle lines hardened, Alina's role was clear. Stand firm in the face of doubt, let the evidence speak, and remind the world why this discovery mattered. Because this wasn't just science. It was a testament to perseverance, to the power of questioning, and to humanity's unending quest for truth. And the showdown with the forces opposing her was just on the horizon. The stage was set. The world had become a battleground, and the war was being waged not with weapons, but with words, images, and ideas. Television studios buzzed with frenetic energy. Cameras flashed as pundits debated fiercely under harsh lights. News anchors pressed for answers. Politicians sparred in heated interviews. Social media exploded, hashtags flying, viral clips shared, and a million voices crying out for truth or denial. At the center of it all was Senator Richard Calhoun, doubling down on his attacks. In fiery press conferences, he hammered NASA's findings as fabrications and political theater. He questioned every piece of evidence, dismissing complex data as science jargon meant to confuse the public. Calhoun's supporters echoed his rhetoric online, flooding comment sections with conspiracy theories and demands for investigations. Memes mocking the discovery spread like wildfire, framing it as a space scam orchestrated by shadowy elites. Families gathered around dinner tables found themselves divided. Conversations that once centered on daily life now spiraled into arguments over the existence of life on Mars. Friends unfriended friends on social media. Trust frayed. Amid this chaos, Dr. Alina Ramirez remained a calm beacon. She took the fight to every platform, speaking with clarity, compassion, and unshakable confidence. In interviews, she patiently explained the evidence: microscopic fossils, chemical signatures, and live data streams from Mars probes, all meticulously verified by independent labs worldwide. Alina's measured tone contrasted sharply with Calhoun's bluster, winning the admiration of many who craved reason amid the noise. Yet the tension only grew. The nation seemed to teeter on the edge, hope battling fear, truth clashing with doubt. The emotional stakes couldn't have been higher. In classrooms, students debated the implications. In churches, congregations wrestled with faith and science. Across the internet, heated arguments erupted in comment sections and forums, reflecting a society struggling to reconcile this cosmic revelation. At times, the villain narrative seemed to gain the upper hand. Public opinion polls showed a sharp split. Roughly half the population believed in the discovery, the other half feared it was a hoax designed to manipulate and distract. Calhoun's relentless attacks had rattled even some government officials, forcing cautious statements and calls for further, independent review. It felt as if the battle for truth might be lost to noise and fear. Then, just when it seemed the villain might win, the hero made a move no one expected. The tension in the packed auditorium was palpable. Cameras rolled. Millions watched live across the globe, waiting for the moment that could tip the scales. Dr. Alina Ramirez stepped onto the stage, calm and composed, her eyes reflecting years of tireless work and unshakable conviction. Behind her, massive screens flickered to life, revealing images the world had never seen before. First came the microscopic shots, intricate, swirling formations in the Martian soil, tiny fossils, unmistakably biological, with structures too complex to be anything but life. Scientists had spent months verifying the data, publishing peer-reviewed studies that left no room for doubt. Then the live feed from the Mars probes, footage of soil samples being analyzed in real time. The probes, instruments detected organic compounds, tiny bursts of methane, gases that on Earth are typically produced by living organisms. The crowd held its breath. Alina's voice cut through the silence. What you see here is evidence, verified by independent labs worldwide, that life exists beyond our planet. A murmur spread, swelling into a roar of astonishment. She paused, letting the gravity of the moment settle. On screen, animated models detailed how ancient microbes could have survived in Mars' harsh environment, painting a picture of a world once teeming with life. As the data unfolded, social media lit up. Clips of Alina's presentation went viral within minutes. Hashtags like Mars Life and ScienceWins trended globally, flooding feeds with messages of awe, pride, and renewed hope. Even the staunchest skeptics found themselves grappling with the overwhelming proof. Back in the press room, Senator Richard Calhoun's confident smirk began to fade. His carefully constructed facade cracked under the weight of undeniable facts. Reporters pressed him for a response. For the first time, his answers were hesitant, defensive. "The science, it's complicated," he stammered. "We need more study, more verification." But the momentum had shifted. Polls reflected a surge in public trust for NASA and Alina's team. Experts across disciplines weighed in, praising the rigor and transparency of the research. Commentators called it a historic turning point and a triumph of human curiosity. The tide was turning. As the presentation closed, Alina's final words resonated. "This discovery is not just about Mars. It's a new chapter for humanity, a reminder of our place in the cosmos and the power of relentless pursuit of truth." The world exhaled. Social media erupted in celebration. Messages of support poured in from every corner of the globe, from classrooms and living rooms to government offices and religious centers. The hero had delivered a mic drop moment that changed everything. But the final battle was still ahead, The truth had to survive the aftermath. We began with a moment that shook the world, NASA's stunning announcement, life on Mars. A revelation that forever changed how we see ourselves, our planet, and our place in the universe. But this discovery is more than just a scientific milestone. It is a beacon of hope, a testament to what humanity can achieve when curiosity, courage, and truth lead the way. Life on Mars is life for all of us. It reminds us that we are connected, not just to each other, but to the cosmos itself. That the universe holds endless mysteries waiting to be uncovered by those brave enough to seek them. This moment challenges us to rise above fear and division, to choose wonder over skepticism, unity over doubt. But while the world celebrated, darker forces began to stir behind the scenes.